Pink Wigs, Booty, and Boris René. The first semifinal of Melodifestivalen 2017 is over. Let's talk about it. You guys, the first act to qualify in Gothenburg was debutante Nano with his song Hold On. There was a lot of hype building about this, and I gotta say, he lived up to it. This sounds incredibly modern, very inspirational. The presence of the choir gave you the sense that this song is bigger than him. He's singing something he really feels, and he's connecting with it. He's a former prisoner who has persevered and turned his life around. It's enough to make this cold-hearted bitch a little emotional. I think he sounded great. I think the stage was dark, but he brought the light. This created a mood. You felt this from the first note, and I feel like he's a very, very deserving qualifier, and potentially probably the winner of this heat.
Yeah, I think I was, if I'm honest, I might have been a little bit underwhelmed just because there was a lot of hype about him. And actually, I don't think the song really goes anywhere after a while. I think it kind of falls flat towards the end for me. And he was obviously a deserved qualifier. I mean, there was an obvious top two in this heat. There's no doubt about it. But I just found it all a little bit, the staging I didn't really like. There were just lots of little niggles for me. I expect that, he nearly fell at one point, so they'll work all that out before he does it again. But I just thought it was a little bit, it was a bit there. I didn't feel anything during it, which I think is the whole idea of the song.
For me, it was total opposite. I didn't like the studio version that much, but this time it was all about the performance. Nano gave his heart and his soul to the performance, and I really like the contrast between the dark moments in the verses and then the bright colors in the chorus. I wasn't surprised at all that it made to the final, and I can see it doing well in the final, but I don't think this is a song that will win the Melodifestivalen this year.
I agree. I don't think this is the winner. I think he created his mood, or the mood, but maybe that mood is now over, because now we are familiar with him, the story, and the song. I don't think this will age as well, because my personal winner was actually Ace Wilder, the other qualifier. We were all a little worried initially when we heard the snippet, but she, again, delivered the chorus. The song breezed by. She looked confident. She looked beautiful, actually, in that pistachio number. Very cool, very hip, and it's still in my head. This is a song I'm still humming, 25 minutes later. The heat is over, but that song, it has a happiness and a positivity to it. Previously, I said Icona Pop meets Rainmaker. We'll delete all that. This is Ace Wilder. She's back on form. I can see this doing very well in the final. It sounds very current. We talked about Nano being current, but it's so familiar in a way, whereas this feels less familiar.
Definitely. This is my personal winner of the heat. I just thought that it's so much fun. It stays in your head. And the full thing really works. And actually, I thought Ace sounded really good. I mean, that's one of the things that has always been a thing with Ace Wilder, are her actual vocals really there sometimes. I thought she sounded great, and particularly in the reprise, maybe she wasn't nervous, she'd sailed through in a way. She sounded really, really good. And I have good feelings about this for the first time. I actually think that maybe Ace might get to Eurovision. I'm not 100% certain, but I really hope so.
Yeah, I was so happy to see Ace so happy. Like, this was really her song and her performance. And also, the song has been in my head since I first heard it. It's such a catchy song. And it's really different from Busy Doing Nothing and Don't Worry. But I think I like this much more on the first listen that I did Busy Doing Nothing or Don't Worry. Again, I can't see this winning Melodifestivalen because the performance was maybe a little boring. There wasn't much going on. There was just Ace, the dancers, and they were having fun on stage. I think the performance should be something else. But I was so happy to see Ace feeling so relaxed on the stage, and she was singing just perfectly. I love her voice now even more than I did before.
And before we move on, we just have to briefly touch on the fact that people are suggesting Nano's Hold On sounds like Jessica Mauboy's This Ain't Love. The songs, of course, share an author, and you do hear elements. I don't think it's direct plagiarism, but definitely that kind of gospel feel, the build, the tempo increase. that gives me slight pause for concern. This one of the reasons I don't think this song will age well. Whereas Ace, it's original, it's fresh, I ain't heard this before. So, moving on to Boris René, the first act in Andra Chansen. We were worried it was too retro, and tonight I did feel it was quite retro. This didn't do anything for me. I would have actually put Dinah Nah and Andra Chansen over him. I think he's got charisma, and I think his charisma carried him through. The song itself, it's just a tad lackluster. I was a little bored, heard it all before, but again, he can sell a performance, and he sold this.
I actually disagree a little bit with that. I think I may have preferred him to Dinah Nah tonight, which I didn't think. And it is the one throughout the week, as we heard some bits more of it, I actually thought, you know what, I enjoy this. It's not as good as his effort last year. That's a definite. But no, I thought he sold it really, really well. And again, that is still in my head. So yeah, I don't think he will get through Andra Chansen because I don't think it's strong enough, really. I can't see it at a Melodifestivalen final. But yeah, it was good. I would have had him in Andra Chansen. I'd have got rid of the other acts that got through for Dinah Nah, but we'll get to them in a moment. So.
Yeah, I think it was all about the performance. Boris was really good tonight. I don't like the song that much. I just don't feel it. It's not my type of music. But the performance was really good, and he has the charisma, and he can sing, and he can dance, and everything was okay. So I can see why he made it to final instead of Dinah. But I would liked Dinah more in the Andra Chansen than Boris.
Boris' song was very, bring out the fire, bring out... Do you remember that one from a few years ago? In any case, the other act going to Andra Chansen is DayVet. You know it. You guys, what I know is that fast camera cuts can do a lot to help a performance, because I didn't enjoy this, but I think the way it was presented on television would appeal to young people. It was fast, frenetic. Anyone with ADD would have been like, whoa. And let's face it, DJ Hunk was looking hot. He caused people to have blood flow from their head to their crotch, hands up. He was on point. This was fun and frothy. I prefer Dinah Nah to this, no doubt. I don't think this should go to Andra Chansen. But, you know, they did their thing. They played to their market, their YouTube crowd, and it worked for them. So, well done.
Yeah, it's entirely designed for the people that would like their kind of music. I don't think it's anywhere near as good, having seen the whole thing, as Samira and Victor or Sean Bernard. I thought it was really quite tame, a stage performance. I didn't enjoy it, really. It just seemed like they were fighting each other. And then the vocals were not there. I didn't like that falsetto. But, you know, they have their fans, and we knew... You knew going into this that there was no way they weren't at least making Andra Chansen. That was the thing. So, yeah, it's disappointing that we lost a better song for them, but they have their fans, and that is the way that the app works. It allows apps like DayVet to do better.
Maybe I'm one of the youngsters who like them more, but I have to disagree with both of you. I think DayVet had the best performance of the night. I was having so much fun. I don't like the song that much. It's not my favorite song, but the performance was I enjoyed it from until the last second. I just love it so much. And it's not all about DJ Hunk. All the three guys are looking handsome. They actually sounded surprisingly cute for me. They are not best singers, but they are by far better than Samia and Victor. So I wasn't surprised at all that they made it to Andra Chansen. And I really think that we will see them in the final after Andra Chansen as well.
3 words, boxers or briefs. You need to watch the DayVet video with Bjorn Borg underwear. You will see them all in their skimpies, and it is quite the sight to behold. I loved how in the postcard for this, they were playing basketball, you know, a very masculine pursuit, showing off those gym-honed arms. My basement is flooded. All right, we move on to the first non-qualifier, Dinah Nah. I really liked this. I loved her Nicki Minaj hair. I liked her Britney Spears circus leotard, circus outfit, whatever it is. The song was not as good as Make Me La La La, and vocally perhaps there were some issues, but I think staging-wise this was memorable. It was fun. She's fantastic. I hope she performs this at a party, you know, perhaps that a certain website might throw during Melodifestivalen final in Stockholm at the Hard Rock Cafe. Chris?
A little bit of subtle plugging there. Yeah, it was always going to be between her and Boris, I thought. And on the night, I do think that Boris gave the best performance. It's a good song. It's not as good as Make Me La 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 in full. And there were a couple of issues sort of towards the end where she just turns her back to the camera and that's the last shot. It just felt a little cold. She looked like a Kitty Brocknell impersonator, if I'm honest.
Oh,
wow. With like the little unitard thing and the hair. Yeah, it didn't really work. And actually, I think with all the acts, the stage, I don't think really worked for any of them particularly. The only one I think it did was Eight's. But it all felt very like too big and too far back, and nobody really used it. Dinah got to the back right at the end of her performance, but I don't know whether they all got a bit nervous or whatever. It just didn't work, and particularly I think that did hurt Dinah. Yeah, it's a shame. I would have liked to have seen her at Andra Chansen, but that's what's happened.
Yeah, I want this through instead of Boris, and Dinah's face after she knew that she is not going to the final or even the Andra Chansen, my heart broke there. But yeah, it wasn't that good. It was Dinah looked like she didn't know what she was doing on the stage. The stage was way too big for her. I liked the Wall of Fears, but they weren't doing enough either. They were just standing there. The song, I think I will play it on my Spotify after the Melodifestivalen, but I don't like the performance at all, so I can see why it didn't make it to Andra Chansen.
Next, we turn to Adrijana. She is a debutante. She was singing the song Amare, which means love in Latin. You guys, I just wasn't feeling this. The studio version I had very high hopes for, but on stage it just kind of fell apart. I think vocally it was questionable. I don't think the staging worked. I kept thinking of Natalie Portman in that movie, Last Night I Danced the Black Swan. I was waiting for her to get out some razor blades and do something naughty. I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't memorable. I think she's a good performer, but she needs a bit more time to mature. Yeah, I'm slightly disappointed by this one.
Yeah, I think she had a cold, which might have affected her voice a little bit. But even then, it wasn't. The staging was terrible for it, if I'm honest. It was just one mistake after another with it. Yeah, there's not a lot to say really with it, I think, just because it was obviously not right. I hope that she comes back maybe with something a little bit different, maybe with a bit more confidence. She's done it once. Maybe a second go will be better for her. Yeah, it just didn't work.
Yeah, I think it was slightly boring. The chorus wasn't really, I can't remember anything from the song or the chorus, and Adriana she seemed really sweet, but again, the song wasn't there. The performance was a mess, and also I can see the song being played on radio, but not really a song made for Melodifestivalen. I hope for the best for Adriana, but this wasn't her year in Melodifestivalen. Maybe next year with something more upbeat, what fits more to Melodifestivalen than this slightly boring rap, what doesn't really do anything to you.
Yeah, and also the chorus, I think it was Amare, Amare, Amare. It's not musical. And I think in Melodifestivalen you need something very musical because that's memorable, and this just wasn't. Now, we predicted this in our other video. We said Schlager Queen turned singer-songwriter Charlotte Perrelli would come last. And you guys, she did just that. This was boring with a capital B. She's got a great voice, well done, girl, but I just got 3 words, midlife crisis. Or is that 2? There's a hyphen. I don't know. I just know that what a difference a year makes. From Schlager Queen, all hail, to this, Indigo Girl Gone Wrong. It just did not work on any level. I mean, I'm glad she's promoted her EP. I hope some people buy it. But based on that song, I wouldn't buy it. I mean, maybe the remix, the Schlager version, then I would download, spend my 99 pence. But as it stands, it's a no. I'm kind of upset, actually, about this, because I love her, and I love her music, but this is just, it's a no.
And it was telling. The heart, when you see in the bottom of the corner of the heart and it starts sparking, and that means so many people are voting for that song. It never did that. Nobody tapped their hat for this song, which is what we said would happen. She has a lovely voice, and it was actually nice to hear her voice and not, be distracted by what was going on stage, but just not right. Clearly, it was designed to sell this EP. The best bit of the entire thing was her postcard where she was playing with her adorable new baby son or child, whatever it was.
The dad is hot. Anders Jensen, I think. I don't follow him on Instagram. Yes, I do. The baby looks like the dad, which is very creepy. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, it just wasn't right. I'm really sad. And why would you come back to Melodifestivalen and finish last in the first semi-final? Why did you do it, Charlotte? Oh.
Yeah, based on this, I can't see anyone buying the album because the song was so boring. I'm pretty sure that on the album there are many better songs than this, but this was just boring. I can't say anything. I said everything I said last time. I'm still really pissed off on Charlotte doing Melodifestivalen in this way. There wasn't anything that I would remember from the performance next to just her singing, playing guitar. Maybe she had nice voice, but if you have a very boring song, the nice voice doesn't save anything. It was awful, and I'm really happy that just her name didn't carry her through to Andra Chansen or final or whatever. She really deserved to place last in the semi-final.
And quickly, just our final thoughts on the show. I was quite taken aback by the three hosts together. I get that they were going for cross-generational, but these three have nothing in common. Hasse Andersson seemed confused. Claire seemed bored. David Lindgren was happy, but I don't know if he was happy with his co-host. It just seemed like a big mess in that respect. In any case, thoughts on this or anything else? Chris?
One question. What the hell was that interval act? Those dancers that were doing the bleep bloop noises with the weird costumes, that was one of the weirdest things I think I've seen. It was almost as bad as the Copenhagen interval act, I think, in the final. It was just very odd. It was a bit of an underwhelming show in general, I thought. I do agree, Hasse seemed completely out of place. Clara, I think maybe it's just a confidence thing. She's very young and she's used to YouTube, so maybe by the end Clara will grow on me a little bit. But yeah, it was all a little bit disjointed. Not the worst Melodifestivalen I've ever seen, but certainly not the best.
Yeah, Hasse was also doing some of the voiceovers with his really strong accent, and that was so funny. I don't understand Swedish that much. I speak some of Swedish, but still I could hear it that it sounds so funny and so weird, and I'm sure most of Swedish people don't even understand what he's saying, and yeah, he looks so confused, and he's not used to doing this. I love David, and David was by far the best of the three hosts. I think he should do it alone, or maybe with some better co-host. Yeah, Lara was okay, but she was slightly boring, and yeah, like you said, she didn't have that confidence yet. David was, like I said, he was the best, and I really think that David maybe should host more than sing more, because Swedish people like him, but they don't like his songs, so maybe this is more his career in the future. But the show was okay. It was slightly boring. I started to lose interest at some point and really started just looking on my phone. But yeah, maybe next week it will be better. And yeah, I can say I didn't like the interval act at all. It was weird, and I felt like I was on drugs or something.
5 words, bring back Edward af Sillén. He will inject humor. In any case, that's what we think. What do you think? Are you happy with the results of the first heat of Melodifestivalen 2017? You can let us know here on wiwibloggs.
And make sure to like the video.
And also subscribe to our profile for more Melfest and Eurovision videos.
It's more important than ever. See you later. Bye.
Bye.